first of all, thank you to everyone to attend this first roundtable. I would like to start giving thanks to Sportboost, the sports tech accelerator and investment firm funded by Iker Casillas and South Summit, to give that space, an important sports tech track, during the whole day. So let's start. I think I have the huge privilege to have with incredible person and brands here. We have John from the MBA. John, I would like to give us a brief introduction about yourself, your role, and what you are currently doing in the MBA.
Yeah, no, perfect. Thanks, Edu. So my role currently sits in New York with the MBA headquarters. The MBA have an initiative to increase the number of international players in the league. And so 2017, they established this academy program globally to try and increase the number of those players. So very much similar to the European soccer model. They're full-time residential academies. There's 4 across the world: Latin America, Asia, Africa, and Australia. Basically, just trying to get players in different pathways, very niche, into the NBA. And so the role that I currently fill in a performance research innovation space has 4 key streams. There's program management, from coaching, sports science, medical, health. There's strategy, trying to develop the environment and the culture, and then a research innovation space.
Mm-hmm. We will go through that points afterwards. We will leave the stage to you, Javi. Javi, please. We have an amateur cyclist here. We would like to have a brief introduction about India and what you are doing there.
Yeah, thank you, Edu. I'm tremendously honored to be here today. It's a big present and a big opportunity to bring nutrition to the big boys' table, you know. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm Javi Guerrero. I'm an amateur cyclist, as you said. I'm a sport nutritionist, and I'm the CEO of India. India is a company that helps athletes, no matter the competitive level, from amateur to professional, to improve their performance through nutrition and technology. And how we do that, we connect any kind of device that the athletes have to achieve a lot of data through their day-to-day and how their body is working every minute. So with this information, we can design an ultra-personalized nutritional plan. And the most amazing thing that we are in India is we can iterate this plan in real time depending on how their data is changing.
Awesome. We will get insight about all of that after. And then we have been talking about basketball, a bit of nutrition. Let's go for soccer, the key sport here in Spain. So Rick, please let us know about what you are doing in the USA Soccer Federation. Please.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to switch to football because we're in Europe. Rick Cost, High Performance Director for all the national teams of the American Federation, and pretty much overseeing everything that has to do with like running faster, jumping higher, kicking the ball better, and especially on the technological side. And our biggest mission is obviously to make soccer the preeminent sport in the USA, which means that we also have an educational role towards pretty much everything that has to do with soccer or football in America. And yeah, that's the shortest I can make it.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So we have to talk about performance, but I would like to start talking about health, the importance of health nowadays in the sport industry, right? So I will start again with you, John. How does MBA work with the health and the well-being?
Yeah. No, I think there's 2 key areas. Mm-hmm. There's a staffing component, and then there's an athlete component. So from an athlete perspective, with the regions that we work with, we've got to try and adapt to the local culture and the flavors of where we work. So working in Africa is very different to working in Australia, to Latin America, and so on. So working with cardiologists, orthopedics, dentists, specialists in all those different regions to support the athletes in a high-performance environment. The second part is a staffing one, which I mentioned. And I've got this thing around sick and tired people make poor decisions. And as coaches, high performance directors, operations, events, we make decisions every day. And working in the international department means we travel a lot. I have a 40 to 50% travel load. So I'm always on the road, long haul travel, don't sleep very much. It's like last night, I'm having a few beers, a few wines, that sort of stuff. Your well-being isn't looked after. And so another part of it is trying to make sure that our staff are looked after, cared for. They have the right time off, doing the right things for them in terms of how we show up and how we look after our staff. And if they're tired, if they're sick, if they're coming to work suboptimal, that's not a high-performance environment. So it doesn't really matter what technologies you use and innovation and that sort of stuff. If they're not peaking in the right space, then they're not going to do the right job.
How about in the USA Soccer Federation, Rick?
So top sport is something super strange because it pretty much disconnects with health in first instance, because everything we've learned until like 5 to 10 years ago, we know that top sport's not healthy. So now with all the technology that we have, and you try to measure how we can have peak performance in a as healthy as possible environment, also gives this contradiction of pushing, players to the limit. But we do try to push them to the limit, but we really track them every single day with pretty much everything they do, to at least make sure that they don't overstep that line of like health or injury-prone situations. So that's when like menus come into place. That's when questionnaires come into place. You really want to feel where this sporter at this point is. But I think we have a long way to go to really make top sport healthy. We're just scratching the surface of where we can create healthy athletes, if it ever will be, because for us, like going towards a World Cup where players come in 5 days before with like a 12-hour time difference, per definition is not healthy. So difficult, but we really try our best.
And in health, like health is a really general term, right? Where are you putting your eyes right now? I mean, specifically in one area, which would you say?
It's definitely mental health.
Sorry?
Mental health. So in the last 3 months, we've made an intention to certify all of our staff globally in mental health first aid. Part of that is around the education, raising awareness and education of how can I support you? You come to work feeling a bit tired, a bit down, a bit low. I recognize those flags. Hey, I've got you today. You go home. That sort of thing. So that's our biggest thing for staff right now. And that also applies to the players and the athletes. Social media and the different generations that we have now, from 15, 16, 17, 18, to then the coaches who are technical directors are in the 60s. So you've got 4 different generations in the same 4 walls. Completely changes the way that people are seeing what mental health looks like, well-being looks like, health looks like. It's not just physical, it's obviously the mental part too. Yeah.
And you, Rick?
I think it's pretty similar. Like, obviously in the last couple of years, we're very big on mental health. I think on our end, that has to do with my job, is more like what is the load on the particular player, whether it's physical load or mental load from the press. Everything has to do with how the player is coping and how he's actually moving forward. But we try to measure as good as possible what their mental health is at any point in time, starting at the under 15s all the way up to the first teams. I think mental health right now is probably the biggest asset that we actually try to attack in the proper sense.
And from that mental part, let's jump to the nutrition that we have here, you as an expert, Javi. How can nutrition help support to achieve the best performance for the players?
Yeah, I think we are living on the most amazing technological and digital era in human history, good examples of that are ChatGPT, Metaverse, and AI in tremendous different forms. So I think this technology allowed nutrition to be, in my opinion, will be the next game changer in the whole sport industry. Because, like you said, guys, mental health is a big problem today, not only in the sport industry, outside in general. And I think we need to know, or we need to understand that we are still like monkeys. So, very little has changed internally. I mean, physiologically speaking, you know. So the main problem is our daily routine, our circumstances, our stress. This is the thing that this makes a big difference if we compare with tons of years ago. So I think nutrition could help in different ways to achieve everything that your brain or your body needs, not only to achieve your best peak of performance, you know, to be healthier at the end of the day. And I think, let me give you an example. An example of how can technology could help nutrition to help athletes and general population to achieve their best performance or health. You can take your phone and you can unlock with your face your screen and see the percentage of your battery. Mm-hmm. The phone's battery probably today is the most available data for everybody in the room. You know, if you see 5% of battery in your phone, you start to be crazy and you are looking to point to be on charge your phone, because 5% of your phone indicates to you that you can still connect it to the world only by 5 minutes. But what about your body? What about your mental health, your recovery? So the idea is using this kind of technology, like ChatGPT or AI, we can help the same with nutrition. We can show everybody in this room how much percentage they have of body battery, and with this information we can provide them the best tools in mental health, in training, in nutrition, to achieve their best or be the healthiest as we can be at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to talk about how do you work with nutrition in the NBA, USC Soccer?
Rick, you go first.
Take
Rick,
it. It's all yours, John.
So I've also got a background in nutrition. So 10, 15 years ago, I did a PhD where I merged nutrition with typical physiology. And that was trying to optimize performance. And nutrition now, I think, since I've been working with different teams in football, in Australia, and now with the NBA, getting the food right for athletes and staff is really, really hard. Everybody's got their own things they like or don't like, and so trying to find the variety and the quality and having the hotels to cook the right stuff. And you've got to think about when they're playing, when they're training, versus what time of day it is. Then you've got travel. It's really tricky, and it costs a lot of money in order to get it right. If you get it wrong, I think food has this knock-on effect mentally, and it can affect motivation and mood and sort of a psychological aspect. Even though it could be the right food physically, if you don't like it mentally, you're not going to be in the right space. So I think it's probably one of the most important, not just from a physical standpoint, but just from a motivation point of view. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like in addition to that, like in this jungle of data and everything that we, collect, and players don't really understand what it is. The only thing they do understand is how things smell, how it tastes, and whether they feel good afterwards. And food is one of those elements where you walk into a room and you see something that you recognize from home, and you eat whatever you eat from home. That's probably the best feeling you can give someone. So we can work with psychologists to get mental health in order. We can work with everything, but there's nothing better than your senses and making sure that the senses are are giving you this good feeling. So I think nutrition.
I'm totally impressed about the idea of your federation.
What we do, so we travel with a chef, very fortunate to be able to. And during the World Cup, like our national team exists of different cultures. So we have players from UK, players from Mexico, players from America, players from everyone. So what our chef did was he created this daily routine of, all right, so today we eat something from the Mexican kitchen, but he made it in a healthy way, and we are very fortunate with an amazing chef. We have, I can say, the best chef in the world. But like, he really gave that feeling from home, the feeling of, so now we're from the UK, so we make a different type of carbohydrates today, which gives you the feeling of being a little bit at home. So yeah, it's just the way to, not to give the understanding of something that is built on data. Yeah. Like, we don't understand data, we do understand how our senses actually, cope with that.
I think that the best strategy is to combine the gastronomy with the latest technology like AI, to not only to collect, to organize, and to use this data to improve the selection of the recipes, the amount of carbohydrates depending on the heart rate of your last training. So I think it's amazing, your point of view.
Yeah, and then I stopped talking. But like, all the information we collect is only understood by pretty much like us. So how are we going to create an environment that we make something useful for the end user, which is typically the player or the coach, to actually do something with it? Because there's always this disbalance of getting, like, we collect about 3 terabytes of data every game. But if I give like the raw data to the player, he will say, all right, what does it mean for me? If I give him like, you ran 12 kilometers this day and you did a super good job, so what 12 kilometers, I didn't give a good pass. So we need to translate that to the end user, and food is a good way to translate it. Or giving some kind of a feeling of, all right, was this a heavy game, yes or no? So we try to make it as easy as possible for the end user, but it's a struggle, and it's literally a jungle of data nowadays, so it's very tough.
I think one of the biggest problems around nutrition last years is we didn't have enough technology to make nutrition visible at all, If something is invisible for you, you don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So we need to collect all this data, show in the precisely way to keep the attention of the player or the athlete to understand what's happening inside or internally in their bodies, to try to understand or to give the best advices to them to improve and improve and improve their performance. And the best part is to combine enjoying the food. It's amazing. You have these tons of terabytes of information. 3 of these tons of KPIs are the best of you to understand your performance, and then 2 Michelin stars give you everything that you need. So I think the circle, it's amazing. I want to move to US.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Yeah, now we should talk about the secrets of the peak performance, right? We haven't disclosed any secret. We are going to start to do it for the audience here. John, please talk about the global program that you have and the technologies integration that you use for the athlete performance development.
Yeah. Sure. So the biggest challenge we have is when working globally is alignment and trying to achieve some level of similarity in terms of experience and of the development of athletes and the performance of athletes, no matter what the culture and the geographic location is. So what performance means in Africa is very different to what performance means in Latin America. It's based on experience, right? Experience of where you come from, your background, your training, experience, the language you speak. So we try and have some sort of similarity and process where we try and align all those different programs and people into the same area. And one of those things is around research and innovation. So how can we really push the envelope of what it means to develop a basketball athlete. And some people may, and I know Javi knows of the program called Launchpad that the NBA have. It's the innovation initiative that the league run. And it's trying to identify technologies that will help develop the game of basketball at a global level. One of the things we're currently interested in is continual glucose monitoring, important for basketball and important for the guys on the court, but the guys off the court from a well-being point of view as well. So obviously technology is changing now with sensors and being able to then send that to your phone and then get some insights based on all the data that you collect. So that's particularly one area that we're interested in right now. Is the utility of continual glucose monitoring important for basketball? It obviously is in endurance sports and cycling and triathlon and that sort of stuff. But for that type of intermittent activity of basketball, and basketball is only 40 minutes, 48 minutes, that's all they play for. Games might go for 2 hours, but you've got enough energy reserves to last you at least an hour. You don't need to eat during a basketball game. So it's what you do Monday to Saturday to then perform on a Sunday. So really trying to get some information from that. So that's one area. And then I think the other big area is about vision and film. So obviously video and supporting coaches with the use of video, and that's continue evolving in terms of the quality of the feed and that sort of stuff. So we're working with another company which we're trying to determine, can you get player tracking data, so anything to do with sort of distance covered, speed, intensity, volumes, just off a camera feed. So I know there's a lot of cameras in here. Can you just work out size of a court through computer vision to get all that data? Currently you need a GPS system in order to collect. So those are two areas we're trying to sort of really push the envelope of performance at the moment.
And do you talk and look at other sports and what they are doing in terms of technology? I don't know, with Rick, for example, do you talk with Rick in that case and see what are they doing related to technology, how they use all these related with data?
Yeah, I mean, sport is such a small world. So Rick and I were talking about this last night. In the roles that Rick and I fill, there's probably 80 to 100 people globally that fill our roles. So in the NBA, there's only 30 franchises, there's only 30 people. In the MLS, there's 29 franchises, there's only 29 people. I'm with the NBA, he's with US Soccer, so that's two more. Similar in the Premier League, similar in La Liga. And some teams don't have those roles. And so you're always trying to connect with like-minded people across different sports. I think sport learns a lot from outside of sport.
Yeah.
And that's what they don't do very well, is let's look into business, into economics, into production, into factories to try and learn what does efficiency mean.
Absolutely.
So trying to understand what the processes are when you're in a factory and you've got a thing on the ticker. What does it mean to be more efficient in the decision-making process when then we're working with athletes? So continually talking with different people all the time and trying to learn. But I think, and I'm sure Rick will mention it, basketball, so the biggest innovation probably in sports science and performance has been the introduction of GPS. That then came into camera systems in stadiums. Basketball had to catch up because we couldn't get it in where you've got a roof. You can't tap into satellites. So then you have to come up with a new technological innovation in order to go, okay, so let's just put the nodes on the edge of the court and we'll just connect to that. So I'm sure Rick can talk more about that.
Yeah, I think what we try to do is next to GPS find the next game changer.
Yeah.
But what is the next game changer? So there are so many tech companies.
Nutrition.
Yeah, well, I don't know yet. No, I don't. You're a game changer. No, so the thing is, we try to, look over the whole global environment, finding that one piece of new equipment or innovation that will actually change the game or will be the new game changer. Probably it will be some kind of a biometrical measurement or biometrical data. And I think right now the biggest thing we can do is actually finally analyze all the data that we have, because we've been blown away by buying. If I tell you like how much technology we bought over the last couple of years, it's absolutely insane. And we spent millions on buying stuff, but we don't have the time to actually analyze it or try to correlate what actually those things have mean to each other. So I think the innovation we have right now, the technology, is probably that group of people we will hire to do the actual analysis that will be the game changer for us in the future. And the biggest tech after GPS probably will be some kind of a biometrical or biochemical measurement that we have. Right now there is, I won't say the name, but there's this company who at this moment he can, on the field, with a little stick, a tester, put it on your tongue. If you have a concussion, it can see the severeness of the actual concussion. So that might be a game changer when we talk about, head injuries or, we need to get this player off the field. And not even in top sport, because I think we're pretty fair and good in top sport already, but more on the grassroots level. Because there is where the new innovation needs to drip towards. That's just not happening. Right now, it's still the coach saying, you're okay, just move on. And then on television we see there's a collision, player needs to get off, and 5 people are looking how bad is the concussion. So I think there's this tension right now. We just need to learn and understand what all this tech means to us, and I think that will be the new innovation for the next coming years.
And how nutrition, or in that case, with all these technologies, how can you benefit to nutrition?
I think we are on the same way, and I think all of us share the same vision about what we expect about the future, or including the new technologies into the sport industry. So I think this kind of technology helps us in the same way Google Maps helps to you when you are wrong in your route. Google Maps have a smart algorithm to change or rerouting you to arrive to your final destination when you are wrong in the route. So the idea or the vision for the future, especially for nutrition, is to provide the sports organizations, to clubs, to the athletes in particular, information in real time about what is happening internally and why do you need to manage your performance. We are working now on cyclists to give information in real time, or to show cyclists how much time they still have in pushing power, depending on how their glycogen storage is. So I think it's amazing. So technology is absolutely incredible now, and I think we are on the start line to a new paradigm, not only for nutrition, for physiology in general. So I think the next, not 10 years, the next 10 months, I think will be amazing.
Let's see. We will remember this conversation for sure, guys.
Yeah.
So we are running out of time. I will finish with an ending question. Give me, please, a key message about the performance that we have talked, health, and tech. We will start with you, Rick, please. Key message for the audience.
I think my key message is, don't forget that all the tech we invest and everything we do in top sport is probably not seen by anyone. So the biggest change we will see is at some point players will release their data, and on television, exactly what you said, Avi, is we will see this little battery on the right forward against the right back, and they will run the same sprint, but one has the battery low here and the other one here, and his speed will be 32 kilometers that game. And you see the guy running, and you just know, all right, is he actually going to trace him, because his max speed is 27 kilometers an hour. So the transfer from what we do, all the data we have, towards the audience and the people watching the game, I think that's probably where we need to spend our new money. Because I think, to be fair, there's a lot of tech, and we have more than enough tech already available.
Yeah.
And now it's time to show to the world what we're actually doing.
Thanks.
Very easy. Nutrition will be the next game changer in the whole sport industry. So this is my My key message for the
For
audience.
another debate, probably after, after our roundtable, guys. And what about you, John?
I think the application of the technology, I think there's a lot of technology that have failed in the field, and they've failed largely because the developers haven't connected with the right people who are at the coalface to deliver that. Rick just said it, that a lot of people don't see a lot of the different things that go on in the background. Half the time when someone comes to me with X piece of technology, I know for cognitive development, or it's going to change physical performance, or make me run fast, or whatever, they don't understand the application. And the more the developers connect with the likes of us, I think there'll be a lot more success.
Well, there you go. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming from America, Valencia, and UK. So that's all. Thank you so much.